Hi everyone, I hope that you are staying safe and trying your best to be healthy and keeping other people healthy. Today was a pretty exciting day because our church does this thing called devotion time where we read a passage from the Bible every day, where we get time to journal and reflect on it and answer some questions and just really dive into knowing the Bible instead of just like having random head knowledge. Just so excited to be able to read my favorite passage in the Bible. Today is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and the reason why that is because it is the first ever tattoo that I got is from that passage. I wanted to share with you guys my experience of getting my first tattoo and why I chose this verse and things like that. So yeah, my tattoo says, "When I am weak, then I am strong," and that sounds kind of like, what? That just doesn't add up. So I'm gonna explain to you what it means. This passage was written by Apostle Paul. I just want to give you some context on who he was, because after you know who he was and what he's gone through, and he talks about his weaknesses and his shortcomings, you'll kind of understand how much faith this guy has. So Apostle Paul was a wild dude. He was a persecutor of Christians, but then he became a Christian himself, and then he ended up being one of the leaders of the early church.
Well. How the turntables.
And he endured many persecutions, beatings, shipwrecks. He was imprisoned. Despite literally almost dying so many times, he came from a background of hating Christians, and he endured all these things because he believed that Jesus really did die and rise from the dead. And Apostle Paul's just like the dude, man.
Excited.
Just really love reading Apostle Paul's writing because he came from a background of not being a Christian, which is similar to me too. Yeah, maybe I wasn't an active persecutor of Christians, but I definitely was an angry atheist. I just think that his transformation from what his life was before to what he became is just so amazing and just shows a lot about what his faith was like. Give you some context on who the Corinthians are, like who Paul's talking to. There's people who are struggling a lot. They're really worldly and really big on bragging and boasting.
Welcome to Bible study. We're all children of Jesus.
So definitely when Apostle Paul's like, haha, look at me, I'm gonna boast in my weakness and how many persecutions I have and how many calamities I have, they're probably like,
That is not correct.
The verse is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 7 to verse 10. And it says, "So to keep me from becoming conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, a thorn was given to me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from being conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness.' Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." That last sentence, "for when I am weak, then I am strong," is what I got tattooed on my body forever, on my inner arm right here. And the reason why I got it tattooed on my inner arm is because I kept forgetting it, and now I literally cannot live life without seeing it all the time. And the reason why I got this verse was because since my weaknesses being exposed for the first time last semester, and I won't get into details, you can message me and we can talk about it. I'd love to share stories with you and just share burdens with each other. But yeah, it was when I realized my own frailty last semester that I was able to see that I'm not as strong as I think I am, even though I try really hard to be like a strong, powerful woman, and that I really do need God. Yeah, thank goodness that he's strong enough to die on the cross and come back to life. I don't know anyone who was able to die and come back to life.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before.
It really just showed me that, yeah, God is that strong and that his grace is sufficient and it's all that I need. So sometimes I still think that securing a job or a relationship or restoring my health or competency are gonna be sufficient to be able to save me. But especially during times like these when we're literally inside and we're stripped of so many things, there are people losing their jobs, losing their lives. We start to see that a lot of the things that we look to for security and insurance to save us actually are pretty fleeting, and the world can literally change in an instant. But during these past 2 semesters or so, when I started to experience a lot of the things that I found my security in just kind of disappear in front of me, I was really sad. Like, those are the thorns in my side that Apostle Paul is talking about, and I was like, dude, like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want to struggle anymore. But what I did learn is that having these kinds of things kept me humble, because before this I put so much of my worth in seeming awesome to other people.
I think I know more about American Girl than you do.
You never get any American Girl study.
Seeming competent to other people, and yeah, with this weakness, with these thorns in my side, I had to be humbled because I realized that, yeah, actually, like, I'm not as awesome as I think I am, and even the things that I can do, like, they can get taken away in an instant. It just showed me how much I really do need God, and that it's okay to be weak. Sometimes I think it is a blessing to be weak, because if it weren't for these things, maybe I would be really conceited, as Paul says, to keep me from being conceited. Maybe I'd be really conceited and I wouldn't see how much I really need God. So yeah, that's the story of like why I chose this verse. I just get the question of like, did it hurt? Yes, it hurt. Like, it's a needle. Like, you're basically like inflicting a wound upon yourself voluntarily. Of course it hurt, but I think what's worse is like the itching that comes afterwards, because like your body's trying to heal and then it just itches a lot. But if you have any questions about the actual like tattoo process, let me know about that too. I also really like the placement of where I got it, because a lot of people can't tell that I have a tattoo unless like I move my arm like this, and it's just like a thing to remind myself every day. And it's a pretty good anchor for me because I'm a forgetful person. I forget truths all the time.
Ever had a dreams that you could do so you.
Through getting this tattoo, I also learned that like you can even have something written on your body and still not live as though it's true. I forget about it all the time, and I read it and I'm like, oh, like that's so not true. Like, I want to have my own strength still. Let me know if you're interested in seeing the stories behind my 3 other tattoos. They all have pretty important stories to me too. I think it's really true that once you get one, you can't really stop. I'll just leave you guys with some memes, and I hope you have a great day. See you soon. You know,